North Korea's abject human rights situation is again in the spotlight as the international community ups the pressure on the Kim Jung-un regime's human rights abuses. As Washington's special envoy for North Korean human rights is in South Korea, to join the U.S. ambassador to the UN in Seoul, our Lee Ji-yeon has more.
The U.S. is stepping up the pressure on North Korea over its human rights record, adding to the current efforts to intensify the sanctions on the regime after its fifth nuclear test last month. Robert King, the U.S. Special Envoy for North Korean human rights issues, arrived in South Korea on Monday. According to the U.S. Department of State, King will meet with South Korean officials during his 4-day visit to discuss expanding cooperation on the human rights issue and other regional and bilateral issues. He will also attend the Forum on Human Rights in North Korea. Washington's efforts to turn up the heat on Pyongyang were outlined by Samantha Power, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, who was in South Korea at the end of a 4-day visit that started Saturday. Upon her arrival, Power condemned North Korea's human rights record, saying the U.S. is seeking to shine the world spotlight on the worst crimes with really no parallel in this world. Since then, she's also had several exchanges with North Korean defectors at schools and resettlement facilities. One expert says the U.S. actions will work more quickly than the current sanctions on the regime.
South Korea and the U.S. are looking for additional sanctions to impose on North Korea, but it will take time for those sanctions to have an impact. But by highlighting North Korea's weaknesses to the world, mainly politics, freedom and human rights issues, the two countries are showing the North that there are and will be more consequences for its nuclear tests.
He adds the pressure on the regime over its human rights record is a measure similar to the kinds of provocations the regime launches when it tests weapons, because there's very little either side can do to counter the actions of the other. Lee Ji-yeon, Arirang News.